This is President Trump. Smash the like button if you're old enough to remember when fans thought that John Morrison would go on to be the breakout single star over The Miz. Obviously, that didn't age well.
Let's put things in perspective. I think people are overhyping Montez Ford, and here's why. He's not Jey Uso. That's not good. He's not Trick Williams. That's not good. And here's why. People were campaigning for Jey to be pushed after he left the bloodline. Let's talk about Carmelo Hayes and Trick fucking Williams. Trick Williams is over, but he was mega over when he was with Carmelo Hayes. The fans gravitated towards Trick Williams for a singles push. He had crowd support. How come Montez Ford don't have that? But you weirdo Montez Ford fans, you are delusional. You are living in your own bubble. He's not over. Hell, I would make an argument that Dawkins is more over than Montez Ford. Okay, every time those guys go back to NXT, they get timid reactions, right? They get timid reactions. But when I see Jey, Trick, they are mega over. Now, Trick was a tag team wrestler with Carmelo Hayes, same as Jey Uso. There used to be a point in time where people thought Jimmy was the best Uso. There was a point in time where people thought Carmelo was the best out of him and Trick Williams. But Trick is way more over. That's who I compare the Street Profits to. You are being fooled. Montez Ford is not over. I think Dawkins is more over. Hell, I think Vince McMahon was a bigger fan of Dawkins than Ford. And here's why. Years back, when the Profits first got caught up, I think Montez Ford was in an angle with him and Belair and Vega. And the rumor was that Dawkins was the one that was drugging Montez Ford. That was the rumor. That was a Vince McMahon idea. The swerve was Dawkins was the one that was drugging Ford. But for some reason, they squashed that storyline. But yes, Vince McMahon was going to turn Dawkins heel on Ford because Vince had more high hopes for Dawkins as a singles guy. Listen, to me, Ford is a bigger Ricochet, but he's goofy. That's it. He's a bigger Ricochet, but he's goofy. Some numbskull said, oh, Ford could be the face of the company. I'm like, what company? Huh? What company? Hell no. Are you blind? What company can Ford be the face of? Not this one. The fuck? Hell no. Montez Ford is a goddamn mid-card guy. He is a flippy-dippy mid-card guy. You fans only like his flippy-dippy stuff. Yes, he's very athletic. That's all he has. Dawkins is bigger and he's just as athletic for his size. He reminds me of a young D'Lo Brown. And the fact that Ford is crying to the goddamn media about his push, I'm like, okay, how come Dawkins ain't crying about his push? You see, that's the guy Triple H should push. Dawkins. He ain't saying shit. He ain't crying. He ain't complaining. Ford is a guy that's jealous of his goddamn wife. Let's speak facts on facts. Ford is jealous of his goddamn wife. Actually, you fans are making Montez Ford jealous of his wife because you keep on trying to brainwash him. Oh, Montez Ford, he needs a goddamn singles push. Hold on, man. You are burying Dawkins. What about Dawkins? Why are you jerking off to the idea of a singles run for Montez Ford, but you are forgetting Angelo Dawkins? What about him? What the fuck? Where is he gonna go? That is very, very selfish, and you are disrespecting Angelo fucking Dawkins. When it comes to tag team wrestlers, you never know who is going to be the next star out of that tag team. You never expected Jey to be more over than Jimmy. You did not see that coming. You didn't see Trick being more over than Carmelo Hayes. You did not see that coming. Just like with the Profits. Yes, I think Dawkins has way more upside than Ford. I take him more seriously. He has a badass to him. Ford has no badass to him. I can imagine a heel Montez Ford, but I can see a heel Angelo Dawkins. I could see him as the black Kevin Owens. I think Dawkins has that kind of upside. Stop overhyping Ford. He's not that good like you think he is. His promos are cringe. he has forced charisma. Let me repeat, he has forced charisma. That's how I see it. But to say he has the potential to be the face of the goddamn company, that is so fucking dumb. All he has is flips. That's all. All he has is flips. And his over-the-top charisma, it's really, really forced, and it's over the top. Dawkins, he feels natural. Dawkins don't try too hard. Like I said, he's a bigger Ricochet. That's all. He's a bigger Ricochet, but bigger. That's about it. I don't think Ford has that kind of upside. Really, I don't think Ford has upside. I think you are going to be sadly disappointed with Ford. He's not it. The fans have spoken. Example, Jay and Trick Williams. The fans have spoken. Just like with the Hardy Boys, the fans spoke. They like Jeff more than Matt. Just like the fans right now. They like Trick over Carmelo. The fans like Jay over Jimmy. That's a pattern that you gotta pay attention to. I think Angelo Dawkins can be the next D'Lo Brown. There is tons of things you can do with Dawkins. I see Montez Ford as a guy that should be in all elite fake pro wrestling. That's my opinion. I think Dawkins fits more of what Triple H is looking for. I think Ford fits more with all elite fake pro wrestling. I think Ford can be like Isaiah Swerve Scott. I think Ford can have that spot in all elite fake pro wrestling. Oh wow, this is a perfect example. The Street Profits, they remind me of The Miz and John Morrison. Back in the day, people thought John Morrison was better. Facts. When they were in ECW, people thought John Morrison was better. People thought John Morrison had bigger upside than The Miz. Well, that did not age well, now did it? Because John Morrison, he was Montez Ford, and The Miz was Dawkins. So what is the difference between Montez Ford and John Morrison? Both guys, they check all the boxes from a cosmetic standpoint and when it comes to athleticism. But let's compare The Miz and Dawkins. Nobody thought The Miz was going to be a Hall of Famer, and look how that turned out. This is very similar. But how come John Morrison did not go on to be a bigger star than The Miz, even though at that time he checked all the boxes like Montez Ford did? Montez Ford has a great look, just like John Morrison, but where did that get John Morrison? Nowhere. But because people slept on The Miz, people slept on his work ethic. Just like Dawkins, you are sleeping on Dawkins. That is not good. That means most likely, based on your fault, Triple H is going to prove you wrong, and he is going to push Dawkins more than Montez Ford. I swear to God. Just like the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, who thought Jay was going to be a bigger star than Jimmy 5 years ago. Same thing here. You are backing the wrong horse here. To be honest, Montez Ford has not improved since leaving NXT. You can't say the same thing about Angelo Dawkins. Angelo Dawkins has improved every year since being called up to the main roster. You gotta reward that. Okay, what is Montez Ford's upside in the World Wrestling Federation? Maybe Elijah Burks or Orlando Jordan. I'm sorry, that's his upside. Angelo Dawkins has the upside of The Miz and D'Lo Brown and Kevin Owens. That's what I think. You are sleeping on Angelo Dawkins. Dawkins has improved every year since being on the main roster. Here's what I mean. Every match you see a Dawkins on SmackDown, he was not doing that kind of stuff when he was down in NXT. That's my point. He has improved. Ford, not so much. He relies too much on his jumping ability. He relies too much on his natural athleticism. Like I said, Montez Ford, he's too goofy to be taken seriously. And it feels like he's jealous of his wife. That's what I don't like. He thinks he deserves a push just because he's the husband of Miss Belair. Even Bianca Belair is trying to campaign for this guy, saying, oh, he should be a world champion. Like, hell no, man. Like, stop it. Ford is not world champion material. The more you cry and campaign for a singles Montez Ford, it's not going to happen. Triple H is going to spite you, and he is going to push Angelo Dawkins to spite you fanboys of Ford. I am a great assessor of talent. Just like how I picked Trick Williams over Carmelo Hayes. I caught that 3 years ago. I said that Trick Williams has more upside than Carmelo Hayes. I said that the main roster, they value Trick over Carmelo. Was I wrong? Nope. So far, Trick Williams is a 2-time NXT World Champion. I said last year, my prediction was Jey Uso was going to be a IC champion. Was I wrong? Nope. That was on video. Go and look it up. Let's compare the Profits to the tag teams of the past. Let's compare them to Edge and Christian. Obviously, Edge was more over. People knew that guy was going to be a singles star. But with Montez Ford, you can't tell. Because the Profits, they don't get any strong reactions. I think Dawkins gets a bigger reaction during his matches compared to Montez Ford. Montez Ford, he is manufactured. And Dawkins, he is organic. Just like John Morrison, he was manufactured. The Miz was not. The Miz was organic. The Miz had to grind, just like Angelo Dawkins. Montez Ford is a guy that's crying over his wife being more successful than he is. That's not good. He should not be the face of the company based off that fact alone. But Dawkins, he's chill. He ain't crying. He ain't complaining. He is a guy that is doing his job every fucking week. All I'm saying is, you people are backing the wrong horse. Just like with the Usos. You backed Jimmy, you did not back Jay for the past 10 years. And look how that worked out for you. Look at Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. You thought Carmelo was a bigger star. And so far, he is not. It's all about Trick fucking Williams. Even Cody Rhodes put over Trick fucking Williams. Who else? The goddamn Dudley Boys put over Trick Williams. Who else? Jay did too. Jay also put over Trick Williams, which means, yeah, Trick, he is up next as the next biggest star of this company. I guarantee this, Triple H is going to make sure you are wrong about Montez Ford. I guarantee it. Because I'm